What if I told you that punching in just a handful of trades in the stock market could teach you more about life than any other book or novel can? Today, I'm not here to sell you a quick rich scheme. Rather, share a blueprint for life inspired by the very fabric of the stock market. I want all of you to consider the stock market not as an avenue to buy and sell securities, rather as the educator of life's most profound life lessons. My name is Ahmed Inshal Abbas, and I co-founded a trading firm alongside my brother at the age of 16. I'm originally from Lucknow, India. And my journey began at the peak of the pandemic when I was just 16, inspired by an Instagram post that said stocks were on sale. And that sparked my curiosity and led me to invest all my life savings of 3,225 Canadian dollars into the stock market without any prior experience. On March 6th, 2020, I punched in my very first order. After a long and tiring day of looking at charts, screening through stocks, and figuring out the best trade, I came out on the top. My price, a whooping sum of 27 Canadian dollars, or 1,700 Indian rupees. Seems a lot, right? But for a 16-year-old who had never made any money, it was a monumental victory. And just like any other 16-year-old, I immediately ordered a pizza and shared the joy of it with my brother, thinking about how I can make millions and billions from the market. My first trade stands out to me, not because of the profit that I made, rather the satisfaction that it brought to me. As I progressed further and my profit grew, I realized that I was not satisfied. Despite my P&L growing, I was not satisfied. Why? Because when I was making hundreds, I saw somebody making thousands. When I was making thousands, I saw somebody making tens of thousands. And I fell into this trap of endless comparison, where satisfaction just felt out of reach. So my first trade taught me this very valuable lesson of not comparing your chapter 1 with somebody else's chapter 30. And how crucial it is for all of us to take a step back and realize what we have achieved and to enjoy those victories regardless of the scale. So I want each and every one of you to reflect on your life trades. What have they taught you about success, risk, resilience? And how have those trades shaped your very own life? After all, it's not about the lives that we make on the market. It's about the trades that we take in our real life. But let's pivot back to the narrative. As I progressed further, I lost all my capital. My dear friend stock market took all my money, and I lost all of it. As a 16-year-old, to be very honest, I felt scared. I didn't know what to do, whom to reach out to. It was a very big amount for a family that does not earn millions, correct? And I somehow gathered the courage to go and tell my mom what had happened. To my surprise, I did not receive a flying slipper on my face or get out of my house right now. Instead, my mom patiently listened to me and told me the following things. I am ready to lend you $3,000 only if you not make the same mistakes again. And those words shaped my journey and shaped me into who I am today. So the lesson behind this trade is that when everything falls flat on your face, when you don't know what to do, when you are scared and when you're at the very rock bottom of your life, you should be bold and not be afraid to reach out to your loved ones, because at that point of time, the words of wisdom and encouragement will propel your journey. But there should be a very burning question right now in all of your heads. The guy started trading, lost all his money. Why is he here speaking to all of you, correct? The answer to that question is that I figured out a winning formula, which is not only applicable in trading world, but can be replicated in our day-to-day lives. The goal of this talk is not to talk about myself, but to give you all a perspective on how we are trading life and not the stock market. So let's talk about the winning formula. My winning strategy consists of 4 things: journaling, risk to reward, cutting down your losses and holding on to your winners, and having an edge. So I will go deep into each one of them. First, journaling. So when I started off trading, I was making consistent losses. And when I was making consistent losses, it pondered upon on me that why am I making these losses, correct? And to figure out the problem, I started journaling. And what do I mean by journaling? That I would write down the thought process at which I am entering the trade with. How did I feel during the trade? With what rationale I executed that trade? And what was the outcome? Which soon started as just a hard, cold journal like this to jot down my trading ideas became a crucial part of my day-to-day life. So now, how did this journal help me, correct? This journal helped me reduce my reactivity. What do I mean by reactivity? Is when I would put on a trade, and my profit and loss would fluctuate, and I would see a negative number or a positive number, I would jump onto it and forget about my trading plan. Forget about why have I put on this trade. So this trading journal acted as an X-ray vision into my very own decision-making process, and very vividly told me that this is what I am doing wrong, this is where I am, this is what I am doing correct, and what is the issue, that why am I making these losses? And personally speaking, when I implemented this in my life, it taught me the importance of listening and made me a very composed individual. So what I want from all of you is to go home today and not write pages and pages long of how you felt, what did you do, who did you meet. No, not at all. The purpose of this journal is to figure out what weighs you down, what are your strengths, and work on them. And the purpose of a journal falls flat on its face, if not periodically reviewed. It's not about the journal. It's about how you are able to connect those dots and implement it. So the first step in my winning journey is to journal. Second, risk to reward. So let me explain to you this concept. Let's say a stock X is trading at a price of 100. You decide to buy it, and you have 2 rules. You're going to book your profit when it reaches a price of 102, and you're going to come out of the stock when it reaches 99. Your risk, 100 minus 99, which is $1. And your profit, 102 minus 100. That's where you're going to book your profit, so $2. So your risk to reward in this trade is 1:2. And if you talk to any market-oriented person, he's going to tell you that this ratio needs to be favorable. And in markets, we come across this very unique concept of black edge. What is a black edge? A black edge is a trade where your reward far surpasses your risk. Let me give you an example. For instance, you put on $100 into Bitcoin back in 2016. And today it's priced at $70,000, right? And you got that, and that's a black edge moment. But what was a black edge moment in my life? A black edge moment in my life was when I was confused between deciding whether I should come to university or I should run the institution that I'm running. And after a serious confrontation with my brother, I realized that in this condition, the risk and the reward far surpasses the risk. And eventually, that has paid me out well. I got this platform to share my thought, and much more to this. So, in life, all of you today took a decision. That decision is nothing but a trade in life. And that trade in life has a risk to reward. All of you guys decided to come up here and listen to different speakers. What was the risk? $40? $50? Some amount of time of your life? But let's say you take one meaningful thing out of this, and that pays you well advanced in life. Isn't that a good risk to reward ratio? Think about it. Just like this, without thinking, we execute hundreds and thousands of decisions in our life without considering the risk to reward ratio. What friends are you talking about? What activities are you doing? Right? And in a sense, every decision that we take has a risk to reward. We are just too naive, or we don't think it from a perspective to consider it. So I want all of you to, from now onwards, immediately, from the very next lunch or the speaker, evaluate your decisions. See if it has a favorable risk to reward. Why are you willing to lose more than you're willing to gain? It's as simple as that. So my next quadrant. The part of it is cutting down losses and holding on to your winners. What do I mean by this? Is when I started off, I made a portfolio for stocks. And some stocks would go up, and some stocks would go down. The stocks that went up, I would pounce on them and book my profits. As humans, we want to secure that, correct? We want to make some money. But what about the stocks that went against my view? I fell into this trap of realizing that the stock will come back on its own. And I let it run. And what happened? My loss, which was, let's say, $2, became $20. And similarly in life, we have this mentality of thinking that we are going to do this tomorrow. That's not true. I'm going to start next Monday. I'm going to cut off from that friend who never lets me speak. I'm not going to take this course which I don't like. Why? Because we think that it's eventually going to come back. But that's not how life functions. So I want all of you to evaluate a trade and cut down your losses as soon as possible, immediately. If I would give all of you a trading account and you saw a loss running, wouldn't you cut it? Why? Because we have money at stake, right? So you guys, all of us become very prudent in that aspect. But what about our day-to-day lives? What about the decision that you're not going to the gym, or you're not talking to a friend, you're not reaching out to your mom? It's a plethora of decisions tailored to each one of our lives. Next, my edge. My edge in market is a tried and tested mathematical model that gives me exactly what to buy and what to sell, correct? But what is my edge in real life? My edge in real life is way more personal and close to my heart. It's the unwavering support of my family, and from time to time, their guidance. And if all of you recall, my journey would have ended when I lost my initial capital, correct? It was my edge, my mom, that bailed me out from that and gave me another chance to do that. And even today, when I have a problem in my school life or anything, I reach out to her. So the question to all of you is that this is one aspect that I cannot figure out for all of you. You need to dig deep down your decision-making process and figure out what your edge is. And trust me, it's never too late to find your edge. But it's absolutely necessary to figure out your edge to become a profitable trader, not in the markets, but a profitable trader in life. All your decisions rely on that. So today, I have given you a winning formula that essentially gives you all the required tools for you to essentially trade life in the most profitable way. You have a risk management system. You have understood the concept of risk to reward. You have understood the concept and the importance of cutting down your losses as soon as possible. The only thing you need to figure out is what's your edge. After all, I wouldn't be able to share this blueprint of life inspired by the very fabric of stock market with all of you. It was possible because I listened to my mom. Thank you.